Okay, so it's got to that time of the week and it's time to do some invoices. So we need to have a look at what jobs we've completed and what sales orders are ready to be converted into an invoice. So we'll go into our sales module and I can see here's our list of all our sales. But a convenient way to look at this is we go to invoice and click on the to invoice button, and this will give us a list of all of the items that we can invoice for right now. So if we tick this little box here, I can select all of them and I'll go to action and I can go create invoices if I want to do it in bulk. I won't do that at the moment because I want to go through an individual one. We'll just see what it looks like to do one at a time. So if I click on this one that we just did, so this is one we did in the previous video. So we can see here we've got our tasks that's linked to our project. So this is the actual job itself that's inside that project. We can see we've delivered 4 hours of labour to this project. We've got one delivery. So that's one lot of things going out to site. So either we've picked it up from the shop, from the supplier, or we've had that transferred out to site for us. And we can see the customer preview and we can see our shopping list there as well. So you notice that these buttons down here, these numbers down here in the quantity list are in blue, and the blue represents that we've delivered those quantities. We're ignoring the fact that we've got these sort of red forecast buttons here, and that's because we don't, the system doesn't know that we've got enough in stock. But anyway, we'll ignore that for the minute. So what the system will do is it'll invoice for whatever we've delivered. So if we've delivered 4 hours, it'll invoice for 4 hours. If we've only delivered 2 meters of this cable and it required 3, well, it'll only invoice for the 2, which is what we've delivered. And that's a configuration thing that we've got, but that's the way this one's set up. So now this job is pretty much done. So let's create the invoice. And just by the way, you remember that we didn't add that to the original sales order. That was added on the job. So we got out to the job and we realised we needed a couple of meters of cable out there. All right, let's create this invoice. So we click on the create invoice button and it asks us what type of invoice we want to create. We just want to create a regular invoice. We don't want to have any down payments or part payments or whatever else. So we just click on create invoice. And now we're in the draft invoice, so we can see what we're going to invoice for and so forth. So we can see we've got a link back to our original sales order there, so I can confirm this now. And now I can print this, send it off to the customer. And so I can click on that send a print button. And what you do 9 times out of 10 is untick the print option, because we don't really want to print these out, we just want to email them. Then we've got a default text here where we can change this template to read however you want it to read, and then we just click on the send button. You'll notice that there is a PDF attached, which is the invoice itself. And if we choose to, if we have other things like a certificate of electrical compliance or some other additional documentation we want to send to them, maybe photographs, maybe, it can be whatever you want. We can add additional attachments here as well. So we won't send this because it won't go anywhere anyway, and once we've got that sent off to the customer, we then wait for payment, and then payment will come. When payment comes, we then register the payment. So I click on the register payment button and it asks me what do I want to put in. I've got a bank called operating, that bank account, and I think that's where I want it to go. Payment date, so forth, create payment, and we're done. And so we're now in payment. So we've just created the invoice, received the money, and put it into a bank account. So the system now knows that money's in the bank account, but you know from experience that it always takes the bank 3 or 4 days from the time a payment goes in for them to actually recognise that that's a legitimate payment and those sorts of things. Not exactly sure why it takes so long, but that's the way it works. So what we need to do later on is a process called reconciliation. But for the moment, we've been paid, we're all good. So we're going to go and have a quick look at the accounting module for a moment. And we can see that we've got this operating is waiting on a payment of $1,289.75 from that invoice we just created. But also from the accounting, if I want to, I can go to my customers and see my invoices here. I can see here's that invoice that we created just a minute ago. So I'm going back to it. So everything is linked together. Everything you do things once, and it happens, and it's reflected throughout the whole system. You're not copying and pasting between different systems. You haven't got Xero and you've got Monday and you've got something else, and you're continually copying and pasting between all of them